Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. See the classic film live on stage, featuring Michael Praed as Lawrence and Noel Sullivan as Freddie. The con men determined to swindle the very beautiful Christine.
Oh, that's me. Oh, sorry.
It's very, very, very funny. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Book your tickets now.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us.
Thank you, it was lovely talking to you. Oh, it was cool.
As you know, or you might not know, we've come from Southend, and you're going to come to the Pavilion in November.
On the 10th, in fact.
Yeah. Oh, look at you. Well done. Calendar.
Thank you. Do I get a prize?
In anticipation of your arrival at Southend, I've bought you a little present.
And you've gone for the king size as well, which I like. You know,
like that too,
that's
yeah.
it.
I love the smell of it.
We're still going to be eating this by the time we get to Southend, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, bless him.
I'm having that.
Michael.
Yeah, that'd be
So, have you guys been to? I know, Gary, you've been to Southend before, haven't you? And I think you toured with Rock of Ages. Was it?
Yeah.
So did you get to have a look around and see any of the wonderful sights of Southend?
Yeah, I did actually. I was training for a hike up Kilimanjaro at the time, so we obviously there are no hills in Southend, so we just went along as along the coast as far as we could go.
Right.
Basically, in the time that we had, it was a beautiful walk, and yeah.
And you've done the Kilimanjaro?
Yeah, did it in December.
Wow, that was an experience, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You didn't go to the end of the pier then?
No. Well, that's further than up Kilimanjaro, isn't it?
And how about you, Gary? What have you visited around Southend at all?
Yeah, I used to live in Rayleigh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's right, yeah. In fact, when I was training for the marathon, it was running around Rayleigh and Hockley and all that around there. My first wife was from Hockley. Her family's still there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Hence your connection with
Yeah.
And what about you, Carly? Have you been?
I've never been. I'm very excited now. But no,
it doesn't
I don't
look
know
like
what
that anymore. That's like.
I'm intrigued where to go. You're good at telling me. Oh, you should go there and go there. So.
I'll point you in the right
Gary
direction.
will know, of course.
The pier.
Yeah. I love going to new places.
Yeah.
There's a little tube train, tiny miniature tube. You get on and it's like a London tube train but smaller.
Oh,
it's still there, isn't it? And it goes right to the end of the pier. If you can walk down, then you can get that back or the other way.
Because it's one of the longest ones in
the
Wow.
in the world. There you go. It's like a mile long.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
It's not on there.
No,
they can
it's not.
fit
I was
it
seeing
on.
if it was.
Anyway, tell us about Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Tell us about your characters in it.
Me? Oh, I play Andre Thibault, a chief of police, who supplies information to Lawrence Jameson, a high-class con man.
Played by Michael.
Yeah, played by Michael Praed, and I don't suppose Andre is breaking the law too much, but he does accept payment for this information, and it's kind of like Lawrence's sidekick. That's my bit, really.
Okay, and then
I play Freddie Benson, who is kind of Lawrence's arch nemesis, really. I start off kind of hero worshipping him at the top of the piece, and then we fall out, and we make a bet. Whoever can con 50 grand out of Christine Colgate, the millionairess, wins, and the other has to leave town. So that's kind of the basis of the play.
Is it very much like the film then, but just with music?
I'd say so. I think the music kind of gives it even more, doesn't it? Like I know my stepdad said he's watched it and he would love it if the movie was made again with the songs in it. Like he just thinks it comes all together in one.
It's the same
nice
plot,
package.
isn't it? It's exactly the same plot.
It's exactly the same.
The plot is
it enhances
fantastic.
it, the music. I think. Yeah.
That would be great, wouldn't it, if they actually remade the film as a musical and you guys all starred?
That would be lovely.
As long as we were in it. Yeah.
That's the next job, actually. Yeah.
That would be nice.
That's what I was going to say. What are you up to after this? Because it's nearly the end of the run now, isn't it?
I know.
Yes.
You've got plans.
I'm in Panto.
Oh, you're doing Panto.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Kettering. Never been there before either, so that's me, Jack and the Beanstalk in Kettering. I play Fairy Fuchsia, and that's me.
I've got no. I'm having Christmas off this year. I'm going to go travelling for a little while. So.
You like travelling then?
I do. Yeah. I just think every time I do a long tour, I kind of like to dangle a little bit of adventure at the end of it, just to
reward.
keep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good idea. And what are you doing?
Well, I'm going back to a career in online fraud. It's something that I love doing, and you can make fortunes out of it. Fortunes.
It's a joke.
No, I'm straight into pantomime, and at Milton Keynes, which is my local theatre, and it's a #1 theatre, so I'm really delighted about that, with Wayne Sleep, good old Wayne, who's used to play rugby for Wales, and Priscilla Presley, who was a prop forward for the All Blacks. I didn't realise that.
Have you picked up any tips from?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really nice to, because Gary did the show in the West End, but then has joined a completely new cast on the tour. So it's really nice to hear, like, he gives us input, and if like, just to change little things to make laughs land and stuff, and it's fantastic,
Yeah. I don't get to work with you as much as I'd like, actually, but I do think your work ethic is wonderful, like the way you come in and you lift people, and then it's very professional. I'm not just saying it because it's you.
You kind of really progressed up the ladder. You've gone from Hollyoaks, and you've done lots of musical theatre. You had some great parts in Legally Blonde.
Yeah, that was a dream role. Yeah.
What would you kind of like to go on to next? Because I know you've got an EP out at the moment.
I do. Thanks for saying that.
I downloaded it.
Oh,
and
bless
it's
you.
Lovely.
Thank you.
It's great. I love that. It's kind of got like a country and western.
Yeah, my heart's in country actually, so that's why I wanted to write one that's like, I wanted to write one, but I wanted to write one country-esque as well, because that was kind of like the EP. It's got a nod to Hollyoaks, a nod to musical theatre with Scott Allen, who's a beautiful musical theatre writer, and then a nod to where I am now, really, which is.
And why the Sugar Babes one?
Well, that's a nod to Hollyoaks. I sang that at Max's funeral, and it went down really well at the time. It was before Twitter, really, back in the day when I was on Hollyoaks, and I just had lots of people writing in and saying, I would love to hear you sing that one again, because we sang it differently. The director chose to do it quite different, and so I've had people since go, oh, I cried on that episode. So I just thought, oh well, I'll do it.
How about you, Noel, with your singing career? Because obviously you were in Hearsay. A lot of people will know you from that, but I think more so now because of your musical theatre connections and what you've done with that, because you had some amazing reviews. Yeah,
well, it's been Hearsay was an amazing experience, and I talk about it every day pretty much. But it was not necessarily the direction that I always wanted to go in. I kind of fell into it because there was nothing to compare it to at that time. So I just went. I went to an audition. I wanted audition experience. I was doing a lot of auditions at that time, and it kind of just went that way for a bit. But musical theatre was my passion. It was. I grew up in quite a musical family, and I just focused on that, and I didn't kind of just bust into the West End straight off the telly. I wanted the respect of my peers within the industry as well. So I've been quite careful to kind of pick the roles that have taken me out around the regions and kind of work my way up, I suppose. So I've got something tangible that won't be kind of pulled out from underneath me.
Very sensible.
With the hardest singing songs that you could possibly.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Yeah, I've done some kind of the biggest roles vocally, which for me kind of, that stamps my place then, and you can't fake it 8 shows a week. You have to be able to deliver it. You have to have the stamina and the discipline to be able to deliver that as well.
To all of you, how do you maintain that stamina throughout a tour like this? Do you work out? Do you do warm-ups?
We have a nice warm-up every show. Before the show, we all collectively come together, which is one of my favourite times because I get to see everyone properly. So we have that for like 45 minutes, don't we? Singing and physical warm-up. It's just eating well, isn't it? And just keeping yourself rested as well.
The naked yoga we do at the end of every performance is.
I wish that was true, because Gary's wife came and we did yoga with her, and I wish we did that every week. It was amazing.
Naked yoga.
Did you say naked yoga?
I knew she hadn't heard that. It was brilliant.
Oh, you dirty beggar. Oh, God, Bennett.
I think the keys really are plenty of water, sleep well, sleep. It's a good 8 hours and more, and don't be afraid, don't feel guilty from laying in bed till 10 o'clock, because it's really needed, and good food, because it's all too easy to not eat well when you're on the road, and thank God for pre-prepared meals, because sometimes from supermarkets, sometimes it's the only kind of vegetables you're going to get.
Just the quick in and out in between shows kind of thing. And if I can get free Manuka honey for mentioning Manuka honey, then that would be amazing, because I have that every day. And it's so expensive, but it's my little
Gary, I heard about you had a blanket once.
It was a tablecloth. I think it stems from, it's a Scandinavian idea. When you have someone around for dinner, you get them to sign the tablecloth. And then back then it was the lady of the household and would embroider it. And so later on, somebody else go, "Oh, you know Charlie, do you? Oh, great." My father, when he was in the business, he was a singer in a 4-part harmony group, a boy band, if you like. And that was in the early 1950s, mid-1950s. And he started this tradition. So when he worked with famous people, he got them to sign this tablecloth. And he used to be in the tailoring industry, and he would embroider these names on. And on this tablecloth there was Bob Hope, you would know perhaps Mike and Bernie Winters, Morecambe and Wise, Benny Hill, and this is when they were all first starting, remember. And then I carried it on, people like Mantovani, and then I started in the business, and Norman Wisdom, right the way through to Take That. Wow, is what I got when it went missing from my bag, and I've not seen it since. So there were about 400 autographs on it.
Oh no!
Will you all keep in touch at the end
No.
of this?
It's one of those.
I kind of knew that.
Oh gosh.
I mean, what happens? You must get so close to each other when you do tours. And you know, do you just like go, right, that's the last one?
Well, I've done a lot of touring. And you mentioned earlier on that it's like a family. They're your family on tour. But what happens is, and you really vow to keep in touch with everybody because you have such good fun. But then you all go to different shows, and then all new families emerge. And so it's Facebook is a wonderful thing.
Facebook's lovely.
Facebook really.
You never really feel like you've lost anyone when you're on Facebook, do you?
But in the old days, of course, it could be 10, 15 years before you bumped into somebody who you were like, went everywhere. You ate most meals with, you travelled with them.
It's such a small world, though, this industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people in the cast who've worked with each other before and
that's
know
nice
that we will again, touch wood. So, and like you say, with Facebook, it's a lovely way of going, well, I know that they're just there. And, you know, in like 5 years' time, I can like what Gary said and he'll be you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. So going back to the show, and you're like quite crafty characters, aren't you?
Yeah.
I don't know, I think from what I've seen in the film, your characters kind of got quite a fun role.
I get to play a selection of characters, which is really nice. And yeah, I'm you know, probably I'm the one without the proper skill, you know. It's Lawrence is the debonair, suave and charming character, and I'm the polar opposite.
Yes. So you can kind of get away with
cheeky chap.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
Yeah.
the bit that I'm concerned about for you is
the whipping.
Yes.
Yeah. I said that we should have it that on the front of the theatre. Glitz, glamour, wheelchairs and whipping.
You did mention it the other day, didn't you? The whipping.
Yeah. Well, it's such a brilliant part as well, because there's not many moments when you're on stage where you get to look into the eyes of the audience while pure comedy is happening. Usually you're involved in the action, but I have a lot of time just sat staring straight out at them and seeing their reactions, and it's amazing. You know, when you're just sitting there and you're thinking, those people aren't even thinking about what is going on in their lives at the moment. They're just laughing really hard.
And they are.
It's great.
I mean, he makes me laugh on stage, and I see it every night. So
really?
yeah, it is.
Has it been one of those kind of shows where you can corpse a little bit? Maybe?
It probably shouldn't be, but try and tell Michael Brain that.
It shouldn't be.
There are moments.
We get told, we do get notes from the director quite a bit saying, "Can you just not laugh?"
It's so hard not to, though, isn't it? It really is. And then especially if you hear someone in the audience, like you know when you know that they're all going to laugh and you hear that rumble, but then you hear the one person start it off, and that just gets me every time.
Someone we spoke to recently was saying that they had one person in the audience who had this really wacky laugh that sounded like a goat.
And then once you've heard it, you can't unhear it.
That's it. And we will always hear you. If that's how you sound, we will always hear. And we'll always be talking about it in the wing, sorry.
Yeah, so thank you again for all your time. I
Thanks
really
for having us.
appreciate
Pleasure,
it.
nice
It's been
talking to
lovely
you.
to meet you.
Dirty rotten scoundrels.